Hey there. Hey, everybody. Hello there, and welcome to what is this? This is my portion of A Creative Little Christmas. So let me see if I've got it coming up live. If you're joining me, I would love it if you would tell me that you're here. And okay, I'm not seeing comments. Why is that? Let's see. Um, hmm. Okay, I see one. Hey, Jessica. Hey there. Hey, Lisa. I'm glad y'all are here. Thank you for letting me know you're here. It's so hard to know if it's really live or if anybody's really there. So, thank y'all. Thank you for letting me know you're here. I'm excited about our project. So, first of all, hey there. I see my buddies coming in. Okay, so first of all, whether you're watching me on my homepage, maybe if you're watching me on my homepage, you can put a little heart in the comments. That'll let me know. Because if you're on my homepage, when we get off, I want to make sure that you go over and join our Facebook group for Creative Little Christmas because there's so much goodness going on over there. So earlier today at noon, my buddy Christy was doing some, I think she called it Merry Mail. We've got some very creative presenters coming today. Let's see, it was yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And then tonight is Jessica with the Happy Home. So I can't remember who's down for tomorrow. I know Desiree is, but I can't remember who else. So that's why you need to be over there in the group. So let me think what I need to tell you before we get started. So join the Facebook group if you have not, and then let me tell you about my project. Okay, so we're going to be doing, I hope I have time to get both of these in. Maybe I can. Okay, that's my goal, is to get both of these ornaments. But if not, I'm going to at least get Joseph. Oh yes, Friday is 2:30. At 2:30 is the giveaways. Yes, thank you, Christy. Yeah, y'all help me remember what I'm supposed to say. Okay, so let me tell you first of all about a book. So I love old books. I love all old things, and I always have. So I guess that's just part of me. I can remember as a little girl going to my grandparents' house. They had a farm in South Alabama, and I would love to, me and my cousins, we would just plunder through the barns and the old buildings and all of that stuff. And if I ever found old jars, I would keep them and put them in my pockets. And I just loved them. And I actually still have a few old jars that I found many years ago in some of those plundering around in those buildings. So it's something that's just deep in me. So I also like to give new purpose to things. So I like to go to estate sales and find all kinds of books and lace and fibers, and just, you never know what you're going to find there. And I especially like Christian books, hymnals. There's a lot of things like that that are treasures that people get rid of them. They just toss them. So I love going on a scavenger hunt and finding those things. I call it rescuing them to give them new life. Hey, Vicki and Juanita, and Jan, I'm so glad you're here. Marilyn. So Christine, I just saw her too. So if you take all of those loves and combine them together, add in that I'm a mixed media artist. I love all of the supplies, except for oil painting. I never have gotten a knack for that, but I do love all the things. You combine that with my love for the Lord and my love to encourage other women. It comes up with some of these fun projects that I put together. So my business name is Pam Coxwell Designs. I owned From the Heart Art for 100 years, it feels like, but my dear friend Anna is running that now, and I'm focused on creating the art and teaching. So that's my very quick, in a nutshell, story of who I am, how I got here, and what we're about to work on together. Sandy, she found the book. So I was at an estate sale, and this lady had 2 tables of books. I spent probably hours out there scouring through those books, and I wanted to keep all of them, but I knew I didn't need to keep all of them. I like to wait to the end, and if somebody doesn't get the stuff, then I'll get it, to rescue it. So I found this book, Deborah. Hey, Deborah, we were just together in Tennessee. I found this book, and I thought, that's interesting. So I picked it up, and I was thumbing through it, and because I always look for books that have scripture. I love old devotion books, things that have dates and Bible verses in it. Hey, Sherry. So those are the kinds I really like to rescue, because we can incorporate those in our art. I don't know if you realize it or not, but you were born with the gift of creativity. God gave you that. It's a gift that He gave to you. Some people don't think they have creativity, but you do. You might have it somewhere hidden and it needs to be dusted off. Maybe you hadn't used it in a while, or it could be it's just not been uncovered. I love to help ladies find their creativity and learn to use it. So pair all that together, and here's comes this book. And then I look closer, and it's like, oh my goodness, this says a love story of Mary and Joseph. So that definitely got my interest. And so I just started looking through it a little bit, and my wheels went wild, because it clicked with me. Christmas is the ultimate love story. Christmas is. So all the ideas just started pounding me of not just Mary and Joseph love story, but God's love story with us. And how could I illustrate it so that it's more than Mary and Joseph's love story? What about the other characters that we normally decorate with in a normal nativity? So I began thinking about that with the shepherds. I love the shepherds and the sheep. What if I was able to illustrate them showing, in some way, expressing maybe the love they would have had for baby Jesus, and then the wise men, and maybe even the camel. And it just started snowballing. And I have a special love for donkeys, so of course a donkey had to be in there. So that's how all of this came about. So I've already done Mary and the star. So let me show you, because I want you to see the first pieces. Where is Mary? Mary, Mary, Mary. Where is she? Here's the star. Let me show you the star first before I get sidetracked. So this is using old book pages, scrapbook paper, old buttons, and beads. And if you notice, what I've been doing is reading some of these lines, and I'll underline it if it pertains to that particular part of the story. And it's bugging me that I cannot find Mary. Maybe I've got her hidden. She'll show up. So we've got Mary and the star. Here she is. Come on, girl. Here's Mary. So she's holding the baby. She's holding baby Jesus. And I think I found something in here in the wording. I underlined it. Love him. And so the back of her is, I changed the back. Oh my goodness. Hold on, y'all. Here she is. Here she is. All right. I love to color coordinate everything. And I'm sorry, I can't find the back of her. So we're going to keep moving, because I will get very distracted and then we'll never get anywhere. So yeah, it makes it more special, Sharon, whenever you know the story. And what's so sweet about all of this is I hope that you can learn from this story how you yourself can incorporate a story into your own art or creativity. If y'all watched Summer take a Amazon bag and make something really pretty with it, Y'all, you can use your creativity in so many ways. And then you can even incorporate a story and make it special, whether you tell anybody the story or not. It could be just be your story, you and the Lord, or it could mean something to you and your family. There's just so many ways to do this. So we've got Mary and the star. That's the first in this series. I have kits for these, and I'm just going to start out the gate with that. We're using watercolor paint. So another thing that I like to do is curate color palettes. I love to do that. I license my art, and a lot of times they'll give us color palettes that we're supposed to paint, something with those color palettes, and it has just stirred something up in me. I love to create my own palettes. So what I end up doing is I'll create a palette, like I created one for her set, and we make paint dots with them. So I wanted her to look really soft and feminine. And if you kind of look at it, the colors that I chose for her are soft and feminine because she was such a young girl. I didn't want her to look harsh or old. I wanted her to be soft and feminine. So think about Joseph. I wanted him to be a little bit rougher and more masculine. So I started looking for scrapbook paper, old book pages, and even the book pages have a story. And then I put together a color palette for him. And this is what they look like. And for those who are not familiar with this, I can't wait to show you how this works. So I love to use watercolor. And so I experimented around with it to see, could we paint directly onto these precious book pages? And guess what? We can. We can. And so if you know much about my art, you know that I love to do my paintings in translucent layers. And I work really hard in getting them as translucent as I can because I like to be able to see what's underneath it. So if you look at this is the color palette for Joseph and the donkey. It doesn't look like much, does it? But let me show you what happens whenever I add a little bit of water to it. It activates the paint. So these are artist grade paints. And sometimes they cost a good bit, like $10 to $12 a tube. So I wanted you to experience using these paints, and you might find one that you really love. And then you could buy that paint. I have purchased, I can't even count, lots and lots and lots of art supplies that I have never used because I was purchasing it for a class. So that's why I love our kits. You don't have to have a kit to do this. I've got a link for you that I put it in the description. If you just want to get the traceables and the supply list, you can do that. And that's free. I think Adrienne's in here. I see her. She's in here with me. So if you don't want to go up to the description, I bet she can put it in the comments for you. Okay, so I'm going to change cameras because I want to show you what we're going to do. So if you do this is the book. I'm going to move her out of the way. You're going to want to have a bowl or something with clean water. You want clean water, especially for watercolor. I even keep my brushes. Oh, goodness, that's going to flash. I don't need that. Give me a migraine. I keep my brushes for my watercolor separate from my acrylic paint or even my adhesives. So like sometimes I use Mod Podge or Gloss Medium. I do not use my watercolor brushes with that. Hey, Sherry. I'm so glad. And Sharon, yay. I'm seeing lots of folks. Good. All right, I'm going to try and stay focused so we don't take all night. Okay, so all you need is a brush similar to this. This is a water brush. So if you're not familiar with it, this barrel holds water. I do not have water in it currently, so I'm not going to use it as a water brush, but it's got a fine, it's a small tip. And because these pieces are so small, we don't need a big one. If you don't have this, even a brush like this would be sufficient. See, it's kind of small. If you're overwhelmed by brushes, don't be. Don't be. I've got a I didn't put a link in here, but I do have a course for brushes and brush strokes just to kind of help you feel a little bit better about them. Understand the brushes and what they can do. Okay, so watch this magic. So I put a little bit of clean water. This one is German greenish raw umber. What a name. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? And I can paint with that. And I don't need much of this. I don't need much at all. This one, I do not even know how to pronounce. Gothite? I have no idea. This one is Joseph Z's neutral gray. And whoever Joseph Z is, he's got quite a few grays. These are all Daniel Smith brand. Well, I take that back. The very last one is Holcomb. Sorry. Okay, this one is, I love this shade. This is Rare Green Earth. It's a really deep green. We'll use that. This one is called, ooh, look at that, Pyrrole Crimson. Thank you, Sherry, for that. Okay, so this one is One Brilliant. Look how soft that color is. I like to use this as a base for the skin. Even though we know their skin tone was probably not that color, I can put this down as a base and then just lightly add this color here to layer in to make the skin a little bit darker. Okay, so that's our first step. We're going to use the watercolor to paint the face, to paint the painting. So I've got my brush. I've got some clean water that's set aside just for my watercolor. And I'm going to put this to the side. And guess what? When this dries, we can reactivate it with just water. These are really nice to travel with. I love them. I love them. Yes, watercolor pencils. That's right, Summer. I think I've got some actually in this kit and that we'll also use. Okay, we call these tools to test drive. So these are water soluble, and the good thing about these is they've got a nice sharp tip to it, so it makes it easy to get in those small places. And so this is what we're going to use with Joseph and the donkey. Okay, so I think that's all I'm going to, well, I'm going to show you one more thing, and then we're fixing to start crack-a-lacking with it. All right, so inside here, we go ahead and print, so we give you some book pages. There's an old hymnal page. So I know some of you have ordered the kits. I want you to, I put a note on this, but I want you to hear me say this. It's okay for you to make a copy of these books. Some of these books are like 30, 40, 50 years old. Look at this hymn page. It is so thin. Make a copy of it. Just make a copy of it and work with the copy. I can't make copies and sell this to you because of copyright, but I can encourage you to make a copy. So look at this one. This is like a Sunday school lesson from I can't remember if this was the 40s, and it's got a date. I like dates, and I'll incorporate them into my collage. So, and it's also got scripture verses. And then there's a book page in there. All right, so this is the part I wanted you to see. All right, so we include traceables, and if you want to sign up to get the traceable, then you can print this out on your printer, and this is what you can use to put your design down. We also put this vellum sheet. We went ahead and printed it for you because I know a lot of people don't have printers. So this is also in there, and I'll show you how I'm going to use it. Okay, so what I did to save time is I went ahead and I got some of my stuff ready. Okay, so this is what we call studio stash. This is coming from, most of this comes right here from my studio. Like I said, I collect all kinds of stuff. Like I collected scrapbook paper for years and years and have never scrapbooked before, but I just love the paper. This is a napkin. So we color coordinate the pages for you. So it's, you know, some people love color coordinating, others don't. So we put those together for you. I try to be, Thank you, Shinda. I try to be. Okay, so here's the bling. We're going to incorporate, and these are also color coordinated. We're going to incorporate them also into our ornament. These are the ribbons and the embroidery floss. Okay, so let's get going. All right, you're going to need some, this is a cream cheese. I love pottery also. And I had this for several years and I had not used it. And I thought, doggone it, I'm going to use this with my watercolor. And I just wipe it off in between. So this is what I'm going to use for my palette. All right, let me get that moved. We also, sometimes I'll use these Neo colors. Those are also water soluble. So let's look at it. So this is what we're going to make together. And to save time, I went ahead and I put the base papers down to save time. Because I love to teach this, so I'll end up giving too many details. So, all right, so here's my book page, and I think I showed y'all this, but what I've started doing is I'll go through and I'll underline things. So look at this. I saw where it's talking about the little donkey. So I thought I want to use that with my donkey. And then I found some that said something about the shepherds, and I'll use those whenever I get ready to do the shepherd. This one says Joseph rose and swiftly began unloading the donkey. He would, and it, so I underlined that because that's part of the story. All right, so this is our sample. This is the one we're working on. So because I've made quite a few of these, this is another one. Don't be afraid. She gripped his hand. We're forgetting something, that this is God's child and God will not abandon us. That makes me want to cry. I know this is a fiction book, but did you Mod Podge those on? Thank you for asking that, Darla. Let me show you what I did. You absolutely can use Mod Podge, but I used glue. And let me tell you why. So I was introduced to this glue stick, this Pritt original glue stick. Y'all, this glues fabric. It glues everything together. I also like this fabric tack, but I took it with me to Christmas craft camp last week, and I kept smelling something in here, and it had been turned upside down, and all my glue, there's still a little bit left in there, but glue was everywhere, y'all. So I don't have much of this left. There's a little bit, but this is really good glue. You absolutely can use Mod Podge, but on the piece that I'm going to be painting, I like to only have glue on the back side. I don't want glue on the top because we're going to be painting his face. So I used this glue stick to put this piece down. But now the back side, all of this, I use Mod Podge because I made a collage for this. And I knew I wasn't going to be painting on top of this, so I used Mod Podge for that. I just don't trust myself because I am kind of messy, Darla, and I don't trust myself. So I just use a glue stick. So then another thing you're going to need is a piece of transfer paper. And if you saw the other, I think it was who I was talking about this, Jennifer and somebody else, I don't remember, Danielle, we're talking about transfer paper. So look at this. This is just a piece of it that I cut down. It's gray. This is you can get so much out of these. I was wrestling with a big old piece of it and thought, why are you doing that? Cut it down. So I cut this down, and here's what I did. I laid the paper down. I got it kind of lined up with the edge. Then I took my transfer. Where is my transfer? I want to show you how I did it. Oh, don't forget, I got to show you about this little guy too. I use him to measure with. Oh, I don't see my transfer. Here, let me show you. I'm going to show you the one that's not cut out. This is the one you'll get. So I cut out him real close. You don't have to, but I like to do that so I can tell where it's going to line up on here. I'll use him as a pretend. And then you just trace it. You just trace around it. I like to hold it, though, with my thumb and then peep under there and make sure I've transferred everything. So what I wanted to tell you about this piece, this is on that vellum. And I use this to help me gauge where I want to put this on the piece. So just pretend like we were going to do this side. So I'll put him down to kind of help me see where it's going to line up and go from there. Okay, so I'm probably going to use this for the donkey because it's talking about the donkey. All right, so now let's get to painting because I want to show you at least one of these. All right, okay. All right, so this is the one that I've already traced down, okay? It does last forever, Shelly. Okay, so we're going to use these pencils. Did I tell you all about these? These are Coron d'Anche, I think is how you pronounce the company's name. I love their products. They are the ones that sell, I'm assuming they invented them, the Neo color. I use these all the time in my artwork. They are water soluble. It's called Neo Color 2. They also have these water soluble pencils. So I want you to see something because this can be overwhelming. See that little picture right there? It looks like a paintbrush. That's the symbol letting me know that this is water soluble, which means if something wet hits this, it's going to move. So that's why I'm super careful with my top piece. I prefer using that glue stick to put the top piece down. Then when we're finished with it, then I feel safe with using the Krylon matte finished, and I'll tell you about that. But I just want you to, everybody learns differently, and it helps me to know where we're going, and it helps me pay attention better. So if you're like me, I wanted you to know what we're doing and why we're doing it that way. All right, so let me get this lined up so you can see it. Come on, little camera. If you have questions, you can put them in here. That's right, Diane. Thank you for answering that. You know that Mod Podge is a sealer. And so if the Mod Podge gets on top, it's going to make it hard for this paint will bubble. It'll just bubble up. All right, so here's what you're going to want. Wish I could get my camera just right so you could see the whole thing. All right, this is my clean water. This is my palette. And I'm going to carry a paper towel. I encourage you to always keep a paper towel because if you make a little mistake, a little boo-boo, you can just blot it up. Just blot it up. All right, so I'm going to wet my brush. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it down closer now. I'm going to go ahead and get just a little bit of this one Brilliant, and I'm going to put it right there on my plate. It just helps me know how, well, you can't see that, dilute it is. All right, now watch. It's not going to do much at first. You're not going to see much of a difference. You're going to say, what did you just do? Nothing. But it will show up. It will. We'll do several little layers. I also know that this is his hand right there. See how tiny it is? This is why we want to have a small brush. And you know what? If this makes you nervous, I have made some art printables with I painted the art on the book pages, and we've got them on the website, and you can get the art printable if this makes you just super nervous. I want to show you one other thing if this makes, so this is the art printable. You can print it out. You can also, hold on, because I think some people might be getting nervous at this point. You can also do this in a pad of paper, cut it out, and then transfer it over. You can also paint the traceable. I went back over this with Mod Podge just to test it, and I sprayed it first, then Mod Podged it, and it did not smear. So there's more than one way to do this, okay? So I'm just showing you how to do it directly on this little wood tack. All right, so now I'm going to get a little bit of that, let's call it goethite. I have no idea if that's correct, but let's just call it that. All right, so I'm just going to touch right over in here. You know, he's a man, so he's probably been outside, and he's probably tanned and dark-skinned. So now that's all we need for his skin, and we'll let that dry. And once it dries, we'll be able to put another layer on that, and it'll be a fascinating little thing. Okay, so now on this one, I used that same color for his, what do they call that little headdress thing? I don't remember. But for this one that we're doing together, I want to use this green, this rare earth green. What is it called? Rare green earth. Okay, so this is the biggest piece. So let's try it, okay? Now watch. I'm just lightly touching it. Getting a little bit more, just lightly touching it. Think of this as coloring. And I like to leave a little bit of a white space. I like to leave some of that. And especially when I'm going over words, I want to be able to see those words, you know, not all of the words, but some of the words. All right, so I'm just going to get a little bit more, and I'm going to bring that down here like this. And you can do this. You really can. You can do this. Now, if we were doing this on watercolor paper, it would have a different effect. The watercolor paper is meant to be super, super absorbent. This paper is super old, so it's just absorbent. But I can't remember who, I think it was Diane. The reason I try to keep the Mod Podge off of the front is because I don't want it sealing the top. I want my watercolor paper to soak into this paper. I said watercolor paper. I want my watercolor paint to soak in here. So y'all tell me, have you painted with watercolor before? That was a loose hair. Okay, so what I like to do is let one layer dry, and I'll go on to the other. Vanessa loves using water brushes more than a paintbrush. I like them too. All right, so this is his beard. So I'm going to go over here to Joseph Z's Neutral Gray. What a mouthful. Okay, and I'm going to touch here. Now I want to tell you something really important about watercolor. Watercolor paint moves with water. You saw how that was dry. I added some water to it and it activated it. Wet paint will also move it. Okay, so if I touched this black beard to that wet green, those colors would blend together, you know? So sometimes you want it to do that. Other times you don't want it to do that. So you just have to be aware of that. And what I'll do to help me prevent that is I'll kind of stop right before I get to the wet part. But y'all can probably see how wet it is by how shiny it is. Can y'all see that? That lets me know that's still wet, and it will move if you add some more stuff. Good, Diane. I hope you'll try it. I love watercolor pencils too, and I'm going to show y'all in just a second how they work. Okay, so now I want to get a little bit of red to go on this little, I don't know what this is, headband. I feel like I'm renaming all of his stuff. All right, and look, I'm leaving some white. There's some empty spots there. Very empty. And if I was nervous about that much paint on there, let me show you what I can do. I told you that you needed a paper towel, and I put mine down. Look, if I was afraid that I got too much, I can blot it up like that. It's not going to hurt anything. And then I can go back and add just a little bit more. Oh my goodness, it's 4:30 something already. How in the world? Okay, so now it is pretty. I love it. This is called Pyrrole Crimson. All right, so now I'm going to use that greenish raw umber down here at the bottom for his, what is that called? Is it a dress? I'm going to do it for this bottom part of his clothing, whatever it's called. Okay, so I'm just putting a light layer. All right, now this right here is the sleeve. I don't know if y'all realize that or not, but it does fly, doesn't it? Okay, so let's just get it like that. That's his sleeve. Okay, and I see where I missed a little bit of green right there. Okay, so here we go. There it is. So what I want to do, he is coming to life. I love it. So I want to just let that sit for just a second. I see something I missed though. All right, look at this. This little piece right here. This is like coloring. That's part of his arm. This is where he's holding the baby. He's loving on that little baby. So sweet. Okay, so what I want to do now, while this is drying a little bit, is I want to, where's my paper? I want to put some paper up here at the top, kind of like I did with this. I love some of these scrapbook pages that kind of look like a man's tie or, you know, look really masculine. So I've got a few pieces. Where did they go? Here it is. And I've also got that napkin. So if you noticed, I covered up that thingamajigger. Hole. That's what it's called. Hole. All right, see those words? I don't want those covered up though. So can y'all see that okay? So now this is where I'm going to start pulling in tunic. Yes, that's right. His robe. Yes, thank y'all. Garment to cover it all. That's right. Yes, these are artist grade. They're Daniel Smith. So where's my Mod Podge? I don't see it. So look what I'm going to do. I'm going to use my glue stick because I need to keep moving on. I've got a little piece of wax right there. So I'm just going to use this Pritt glue stick. I would have never thought you could do as much stuff with a glue stick as you can do with this one, but it works really well. All right, so I'm lining it up with the edge like this. These are just scraps that I saved, and I'm just going to let it go across to the back side. I'm not going to worry about the back right now because I just want y'all to see the front. I really want you to see the painting part. I don't know if I said this or not, but if you get a kit from me, Adrienne is my assistant, and she's putting them in our learning hub so that you can access them whenever you want to from there. Because if I run out of time, this is what I had to do with Mary. I taught her over in Jingle Mingle, and I ran out of time there. So I taught the second part of it. I think, when did I teach it, Adrienne? I don't even remember. All my days are running together. I just want a little bit of collage pieces right in here. And see, that's already sticking. It's really, really sticky. All right, there's a little music note. That would look good on there. Let's put that on there. And then I'm looking at my paper and it's almost dry, so that's good. All right, so I just filled that in. Got that green. I want to get a little bit of red up there at the top to tie in that red. You know, whenever you want little accent colors, if you want a color to be an accent, you have to use just a little bit of it, or it no longer gives a pop of color. It's just like a big blob of color. So I just want a little bit of red. And see, I really want it down here, but that's those words that I liked so much. I could put it right here and let that be part of his garment. That looks good, doesn't it? Let's do that. Let's just do that. Okay. So I'm just going to get that little Pritt. I keep renaming it. It's Pritt. It's very, very, very sticky. All right, because I want to get back to painting with you. How are we on time? Okay. All right, look at here. Now, this is the brown that I was telling you about. It's called, what is this called? Umber. And then I have this one. I love this shade. It's Granite Pink. Let me show you what it looks like on this. Now, let me get my little paintbrush. I want you to see, because when you hit it with water, look at that. Isn't that pretty? It's a really pretty color. And then this brown is really good for outlining, to adding depth. All of these work together really well together. Isn't that pretty? Okay. Okay, so what I want to do, I want you to see with me so you can see where my thought process. I'm going back to this same green, the rare green earth, putting it right there. Another fun little fact is the paint on your palette, when it dries, you can reactivate it just with a little water. Did you know that? All right, so now I'm just going to go in at the base, and I'm just going to pull it up just a little bit so that it looks like there's folds in it. Can y'all kind of see that? Okay, then I'm going to come down here underneath his headband thing and pull it down a little bit. That's going to give some depth and dimension to it, like that. Then I'm going to come down in here with that little line. I really tried to make this like a coloring page to make it easy, because I really want y'all to enjoy it. I don't want you to be nervous by it. I want you to be like my friend Sherry, who she's on here with us, didn't think she could paint, and y'all, she can paint some pretty stuff. All right, let me know if you have questions. I'm going to try and remember to look up. All right, so I'm going to add just a little bit more red, and I'm just touching it on there very carefully so that it does not blend in with my green. Okay, now I'm going to go back to that goethite and get a little bit of that and do it right there. And I'm just going to touch it right here about his cheeks. And I want to do his hands, both hands, and just do a little bit on the baby. All right, y'all still with me? All right, now I'm going to go back to that raw umber for the sleeve. There's his sleeve. Okay, now there's that. And I just need to add a little bit of a layer and do his beard. So now let's go to Joseph. I can't say it. Joseph Z. It's so hard to say, you guys. Goodness gracious. Okay, so here we've got it. Okay, now I want you to hear me say that it's that simple, and you can absolutely do this. You can do this. All right, I'm going to take just a little bit more red. Don't y'all think it needs a little bit more red whenever we're creating? I have a membership. I almost forgot to tell y'all this. It's called the Creative Hearts Studio. And over there, I teach, guess what I teach? I teach lettering too. We got a lot of lettering ladies in here, but we are all very different and unique in how we letter. So I do lettering for scripture journaling. And then I also teach mixed media, which is what this is. Did y'all know that? Did y'all know that this is mixed media? Mixed media is where you use more than one medium in your painting, and we are using more than one. Now, let's take our water-soluble pencil, and I feel like that's a little bit too thick right there, y'all. So let me blot that just a little bit. Y'all see that? I want to add a little bit of that pink to him. And then I want to add some pink to the baby. Danielle, I don't remember how I learned to do this. I started painting a long time ago whenever I was on bed rest with my youngest daughter. I started painting, and that was actually the first time I had ever painted. So I've been painting and doing stuff for forever. But that was the first time somebody had ever paid me for something that I painted. And my oldest daughter was in kindergarten. I was telling the ladies this. And one of the teachers wanted me to paint a shirt for her. And guess what it said? Don't break my achy breaky heart. Some of y'all, I don't know if you're old enough to know what that is. That's a Billy Ray Cyrus song. So I painted that for her on a shirt. Don't break my achy breaky heart. And it just snowballed. A lot of the other teachers wanted me to paint stuff for them. And then I started painting wood and all kinds of stuff. And the Lord just kept opening doors for me. You do remember that song? Yeah. To paint things, and it really helped my family because my children were small, and I wanted them to be able to go to a Christian school, but it cost a good bit of money, so I started painting to help make money, for us to be able to send them to school. And one thing just led to the other. Okay, so as soon as this dries just a little bit more, I want to come back with a pen and outline it. So while I'm waiting, I could use my heat gun. I'm going to take my X-Acto knife and I'm going to just fill around for that hole right there. Yeah, Adrienne, I think you, if I remember correctly, you are about the same age as my daughter. And I think that was very popular back then. But it's funny, I'd forgotten all about that song, and somebody had asked me, when did I start? And then, the Lord has been so good to me because art and using my creativity has really been, I teach that it's a tool. You can use it as a tool for stress relief, and it's definitely been that for me in my life. But it's also been a tool that I think He has used to help heal my heart, because you can sit down and work on something like this and really just use it as a time for prayer. You can use it as a time to just focus on Him. For years and years, I painted clay pots, and we used to have a basement. And so I would listen to Christian. So y'all watch me as I do this, okay? So I was listening to Christian music, a Christian radio station. This was before iPhones, so it was on a radio, a real radio. And so there were always, preachers and music and stuff like that. And I was just absorbing all that stuff. I didn't even realize it. But that's what I would listen to all day while I was working on orders and stuff. And then that stuff started spilling over into my artwork. So I created a design. I was painting clay pots, and I decided to try painting some fruit. Well, I think somebody asked me to paint it. Most of the stuff I came up with, somebody asked me to do it, because I had absolutely no confidence in myself or in what God could do through me. Now I know it's Him doing it through me, but then I did not understand that. I'm going to use a black neo color for his beard. So I was painting those pots and decided, I think I want to put the fruit of the Spirit on these pots. So I that's where my lettering got started. I started painting the fruit, that verse from Galatians, on those pots, and they were very popular. I mean, there's no telling how many pots I painted with the fruit of the Spirit. And what happened is, before I realized it, I had memorized the fruit of the Spirit, y'all. And in the meantime, that fruit went so well, I decided, well, I'll do the John 15:5, and I'll do this and I'll do that. And I was memorizing it. And it was also changing me, because I was just absorbing that into my mind, and it was flowing out into my artwork. And it didn't take long, and I just everything felt naked if I sent it out without a Bible verse on it. And before you knew it, that's what almost all of my art was it had scripture verses Okay, that pen was about dead. That's why I'm changing it. Um, that's okay, Christy. You can watch the replay. Yes. Okay, so look at here. Yeah, that was what was wrong. My pen was, that's one thing about these pens. If you're doing them over paint and things, I think it does kind of wear them out quicker. I'm putting him some bushy eyebrows because I think Joseph would probably have some bushy eyebrows. And I want to darken this little part right here. And if you notice, each little thing I do is going to make it come up even more. And I'm only doing little bits at a time because it's easy to overwork it. So if you're like me and you struggle with overworking things, the best advice I can give you is do little bits at a time. And if you start getting frustrated with it, then walk away. Just walk away and come back to it. Okay, so there, and see, he's different than the other Joseph. I can never do two things at the same time. Okay, so now I need for this to dry just a smidgen more. And while I'm doing that, and I want to go ahead and take some color onto this. So for those who are just coming in, I used a Pritt glue stick to glue this paper onto the top of this wooden tag. And the reason I did that is because I'm using watercolor to paint this. I could have used Mod Podge, but Mod Podge is a sealer, and I didn't trust myself to keep it off of the front. Maybe I'll put that. I just feel like that corner needs something. So that's why I use that glue. I just don't want to get anything onto the front. Then once this dries completely, then what I can do is I can take that matte medium and I can spray a very, very light misting of it over the front and seal it. Okay, so I feel better about that. I just felt like it needed something in that corner. Okay, so another thing that I can do while I'm waiting for this is let me go ahead and show you this part. All right, so see these little beads and see the buttons, and those work really well to add interest to it. And y'all, I forgot the heart. Doggone it. Okay, so it's okay. Let's do the heart. I'm just going to sketch it on here because I'm really trying to be careful with those words. I want to save them because they're part of the story. The words say, "Don't be afraid." She gripped his hand. We're forgetting something, that this is God's child and God will not abandon us. Weak and human as we are, God has chosen us to be his servants. Surely he will help us. I wanted to save that. I didn't want it to get covered up. So every time I read that, it makes me want to cry, y'all. Oh my goodness. What is that? Oh, this right here. This is a Supracolor water-soluble pencil. And I'm just sketching it on there. And watch what happened. Well, it's not going to show up very well on that because it is such a light color. But see, you add water to it and it moves. And I love it. All right, let me see what other color I have that we could use for this. So I want you to see it. All right, so this is, if you've never tried water-soluble pencils, I highly recommend them. They're just, you can just do a lot with them. And I've got mine strode all over the place. All right, so I'm just going to sketch. I just want this to be just a little bit darker. See, I don't want to take away from my little quote right there. So this heart on this one may not look like this one. You know, it just may not, because I don't want to mess up that quote. So now what I can do is take a little bit of that Pyrrole Crimson, which is such a beautiful color. I can take it over here to my cheese, my cream cheese tray, and lighten it. You can lighten these with water. You just thin it down. Now watch what happens. I'm just going to lightly go over this because I just want to give the illusion of this is a heart. So for those who missed the first part, I want to illustrate each of the characters that we normally have in our nativity, and I want to illustrate each one of them holding or showing love to the baby Jesus. So this series is the Nativity Love Story, and this is Joseph and the donkey. Good. Thank you for telling me that. Which one are you looking for? I have not been able to find it locally, Joanne, Walmart, maybe Art Store or Amazon. You mean for that glue stick? I ordered the glue stick from Amazon, and I think that it comes from Canada. It took a little while for it to get here, so I ordered several of them because this glue stick works that well. I was watching oh y'all, I can't think of her name. She does a lot of mixed media art. Robin, I can't remember her name, but she was recommending that glue, and so I thought, well, I'm going to get some of that. Okay, so there he is, and it's still kind of damp, but this one, all right, here's the original one. And I had more of a red on there, but I don't want to mess up my words because I like those words. Those words minister to me. I need to remember. Do y'all need to remember that? From time to time, I forget that God will not abandon me. He will not. He will not abandon you either. So this one is probably going to be my ornament, y'all. Okay, so how are we doing on time? 4 minutes. Oh my goodness, y'all. 4 minutes. Okay, let me put Mr. Pritt down. So let me show you how to do these beads, because this is what really makes this come alive, okay? Where are my beads? Here they are. So these are the beads that we included for Joseph and for the donkey. So think it through. So the donkey this is the donkey, and I basically painted him underneath there, and then I put the vellum on top. You know, I showed you that we put the vellum in the kit. I think that just gives a nice dimension on that, you know? So, okay, thank y'all. Yes, Jingle Mingle was very similar to this, but it was back to back, but it was a marathon. So thank y'all for giving me a little bit of freedom to do that. It was absolutely a marathon. Okay, so I know I want this little wooden heart, and this gives you the opportunity to pull out different colors. So look at this, y'all. I've got green here, green there. I've got a smidgen of green there. I think some green would be nice here, but there I'm getting into my words. So I think I'm going to use that one right there. It's very subtle, but I thought since I kind of lost my heart, not literally, you know what I mean. I can't make the complete heart without covering up some of my words. I think that I can use some of my buttons also, and maybe some of that string to help kind of tell that story. Your things like this can help tell a story. Your art can help tell a story. It all can. All right, so the one thing I don't know if I have is the string. So we put embroidery floss in here as well. So let me see if I can ring that hole. There it is. I got it. I can't believe it. All right, and where are my good scissors? Oh my goodness, there they are. I saw somebody with this thing, and y'all probably already have one because y'all are probably ahead of stuff like that. But it holds your scissors. I'm always losing my scissors on my table because I've got so much stuff over here. So as soon as I get a chance, I'm going to order it, but it's a little rubber thing. Okay, see how I can do this, and this will help tie in some of that green also. And if you wanted to, we could glue Oh, I lost my string. All right, y'all be patient with me. What in the world? Okay, so here we go. There it is. Okay, so we could put this right here, and that gives us a little bit more. And believe it or not, this glue works pretty good even with this stuff, but I'm going to use my hot glue gun. It should, I mean, I burned myself with it a minute ago, so it's like, okay, you need to work, Mr. Glue Gun. Okay, and I want to trim that just a little bit. Wouldn't it, if my eyes were better, I could run this through there. Wouldn't that be pretty? So many things you can do with this. I think I'll just do it like that. Let's do that. Make it look like it's through there. We're going to give the illusion. All right, have you ever heard of gel medium? This is something, you don't have to use this, but this is something that's really good to hold heavy stuff down. And I want to show you how to do it with this. You could use Mod Podge, and now it would be okay to use Mod Podge. But I want to show you how it works out really good with these little bitty beads. I'm going to use this for my big ones. And I kind of wished I hadn't put that totally on that heart. It almost makes it not look like a heart, but it's okay. I'm not gonna fuss over it. So see, what I was talking about is I might could take some of this and make the heart like that, but where those words are, it would cover those words up, and I see it covers up afraid, and I don't want to do that. So I'm giving an example, y'all, of how we can use our artwork to tell a story. And it may not be a story you tell anybody else. It may just be a story between you and the Lord. But this is, I love this, and I don't want to cover it up. Okay, so let me show you this. All right, let's take 15 more minutes. Hang on, and I want to do the back. I want you to see the back, okay? And I forgot to put the scripture reference. Ugh, I don't remember where that's at. Oh, it's Matthew 1:25, and he called his name Jesus. This is after the angel spoke to him and told him, you know, we don't hear a lot about Joseph. We usually hear more about Mary. And because I don't want to make a big mess on my table, I'm just going to use the Prit for this. And then I'll go back over it with the Mod Podge, y'all, because I just want to get this down. This is something that you don't need me to show you how to do this. You know how to do this, I think. All right, so see, I'm going to take my blade. This is my X-Acto blade. I'm just going to cut it there. If I wasn't so particular with those words, I could fold this over. And I could fold that one over. I think I will fold that one over. Let me know if y'all have questions. I keep forgetting to look up. Okay, see, that looks pretty cool, doesn't it? Okay, but I want to take that piece off because that's my words that I don't want to lose. All right. So what I would do whenever I'm finished, I will come back with Mod Podge and I'll get this sealed down better. I just want you to see basically the basics of how this is done. All right, so now, have you ever made a collage before? Tell me if you've never made a collage. That will help me know. Well, thank you, Jennifer. I learned a lot from y'all. Okay. I want to make one of those things you made, those scroll things. If y'all missed the ones from earlier today, y'all need to go back and catch the replays because they're doing some fantastic stuff. All right, I'm fixing to use this stuff. All right, this is the stuff I was telling you about. You could use the matte finish. If you don't, this is just what I have. I have the gloss, but it looks like Pond's cold cream. And if this is important, this is an art supply. So it tells you that it's ideal for extending colors, altering sheen, increasing translucency, and adhering collages. So a lot of people use it for collage. And it dries clear, which I really like. Oh, wait, I'm going the wrong way. I'm trying to make the heart on this side since I lost my heart on the other side. And we could have absolutely sketched this out first, but I got ahead of myself and I did not. So where's my other piece of paper? Y'all hang on. I can't find it. Here, let's use this. All right, I almost forgot to put this piece down. This dries very quickly. So if you can see on my original one, I had kind of a solid background on the background piece. And then I wanted the heart to look kind of quilted. I don't know if they had quilts back then, but I would think that they would have. So whenever you have something with a lot of color like this, you really need the background to be kind of neutral so it doesn't compete with it. So see, I could use this. It does not take very long to dry. And I love to use this for my beads and stuff, but I also like it because it's not so messy. I have a hard time not making a mess with Mod Podge. I just do. I don't know what it is about it, but I just make a mess with it. And then it gets all over my hands, and I don't like the way it feels on my hands, even though this is on my hands, but it doesn't, I don't know, it's not the same. And then if you have one of those little room key things, you can do this to get the bubbles out. That helps also. All right, so now let's build our heart. Let's build a heart. All right, so probably should sketch it. Let's just sketch it. Yep, that's good. All right, so I'm not going to use that color. I want to use this. I love scrapbook paper. I don't remember if I said this or not, but I love scrapbook paper. We did something this summer, and I hope I can do it again, but I did a journal, something I called a journaling week. And y'all, I think we had a little bitty revival in there. We used, it kind of turned into a spiritual scrapbook, kind of like a record keeper. And we used old sewing patterns and scrapbook paper and just all kinds of stuff in there and made pages. There's just so many ways. I guess my whole point with this is there's so many ways you can use your creativity to help you. Not just make pretty gifts and decor. You can use it to help you spiritually. You can use it to help you mentally. You know, I've had a lot going on. My mom's having some medical issues, and we're supposed to be leaving in the morning to go out of town. And I just kind of got really stressed out. But it's just something about sitting down and just focusing in on this and thinking about the story of this ornament and thinking about, I want you to see how you can also do this. It is an escape. It is. Sherry, tell them what one of your favorite things is. Sherry's in my group, and she was the one I was talking about earlier. She knows that I talk about her. I brag about her. That did not think she could paint. And we dusted off that creativity, and she's just been making all kinds of stuff. All right. And I know all of these ladies in this wonderful group that I'm in, they understand this as well, you know, that your art is a gift. And all of you that are watching, you have that gift. You have that gift, and any of us would be happy to help you discover how to use that gift. We really would. I really wished I had a little piece of red paper, but I don't. So I'm just going to take a little piece of this napkin. Now my hands are getting sticky, but it's not as sticky as Mod Podge sticky. And this stuff goes a long way. I've had this for probably a couple of years. So this jar I bought at an art store, so it cost more. I think it was like $16, but I've had it several years, and I use this a lot because it doesn't take much to get this stuff down. All right, see, I've just put just a little bit of it down, and it acts as a sealer too. Okay, it's raining again. We've been getting a lot of rain. I don't know about y'all, but I had tons of flowers, wildflowers planted, and it was so hot and dry that they've all just about died. All right, I want to show you how, here's what I'm trying to get to, is showing you how to do the name on there, of this verse. Now, you could letter this. You absolutely could. This is just the, I call them traceables. Do y'all call them traceables? You've already, Deborah filled hers. Okay, so this is kind of a heavy paper. So look at this. So I'm just cutting it down, and I'm just going to use this. I'm going to use my paste. Did y'all go to school a long time ago like me and you used the paste for glue? I don't need nearly that much. Oh my goodness, I didn't mean to put that much on there. Okay, I'm trying to hurry too much. Okay, so I'm getting that on there. And I'll come back and I'll record. Let's see, I'll have to ask Adrian when I'll do it. Maybe after I finish the star, I'll do the donkey. Okay, because he's super precious. Did y'all know this? I'm going to tell you about this while I glue this on. Did y'all know the story of the donkeys? I we were looking for sheep and met this couple, elderly couple that had a sheep farm. And they invited us to come see their sheep and introduced us to their donkey named Poncho, and started telling, and this is probably going to make you cry, telling us how Poncho's job on the farm is to protect the sheep, the mom ewes. Isn't that what they call them? A ewe. And Poncho knows which ones are expecting babies, and he also knows instinctively when they're going into labor, and he starts herding them back to the barn. Doesn't that make you want to cry? And she said he stays there and guards that mama until she delivers her baby, and he does not let anybody else come near her. It just made me cry because I thought about Mary, you know, and all the pictures we see of Mary on a donkey. And it just made me think of how God is in, you know, we think we know so much, but really there's so much we don't know, isn't there? And the choices that he makes, you know, that she was on a donkey and how symbolic that is, with a donkey's job is to herd the mama to the barn for safety, and he will protect her while she's giving birth. It's just precious. So since I met that couple, every time I paint a nativity, there's always a donkey in there for Poncho. I stay friends with them on Facebook, and he passed away not too long ago. I think he was like 20 something years old, y'all. Okay. All right, so y'all look at this. So now this is good and goopy wet, but it's okay. We're not going to worry about that. I just wanted you to see. All right, so now I'm going to take my X-Acto knife and I'm going to punch through that hole. But I feel like from this point, you kind of get the idea. So when this totally dries, we can add our ribbon. Oh goodness, my fingers start to stick to the paper. And if you wanted to, you could drizzle you could drizzle Mod Podge, you could drizzle gloss medium, you could drizzle that triple thick. Have y'all ever used that stuff? You could drizzle that on top, and that will help, with the beads. And then I will also take the marker. Yeah, it's not dry enough yet, but see how I did it with the stitches? When that dries, I'll make it look like it was stitched because I just wanted this to look like a quilt. And then I'll also trim up the sides. I just wanted y'all to see how I would finish that out. And then I'll do the same thing. Let me see if I can do it this way. On this side, I'll put just a little bit, and then I'll get off of here so y'all can go eat and get ready for Jessica. So if you want to see the donkey, y'all get on my list and we'll let you know whenever I'm going to paint the donkey. Order the kit and you'll get it in your library. You do, yeah, use the triple thick, Deborah. I hope that y'all get the idea now of how to do this, and I hope that y'all are going to give it a try. You can do it. And post any questions that you might have under here, and I'll check in with y'all and see if I can answer them. Okay. All right. Well, thank y'all. Thank you for everything, and don't forget to I'll post a picture. I've never used that dimensional magic. Yeah, go to Hobby Lobby, girl. Somebody told me today, you're an enabler. I said, yeah, I am. I'll post a picture of it, y'all, so you can look at it for reference. And every one that I do, it looks different. I can never do it the same, but that's okay because each one's unique and original, right? Okay, so y'all be sure, if you've not joined the Facebook group, get over there and do it. Be sure and get in the Facebook group. And then Friday at 2:30, we'll have our giveaway. Y'all be sure and show up for that and let me know if you have any questions, okay? All right, thank y'all. Y'all go get ready for Jessica. Y'all have a good evening. Thank you, everybody. Hey, Diane, you watch the replay, girl. Watch the replay. Thank you, Danielle. Thank you for putting this together for us. Thank you for letting me do it with y'all.